Welcome to No Broken Legs. I am your host, Evan Belfiore. Joining me in-house is Jimmy Champ. Jimmy, how are we this evening?
We're wonderful, brother. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. We just had the NBA draft on Thursday, and the Cavs didn't fuck it up by drafting a third guard in 4 years. I'm very happy with that. They end up taking Evan Mobley, a 7-footer with a pretty diverse skill set. Loves to defend, pretty good passer for a big man, can actually dribble a little bit. Jimmy, what do you make of this pick for the Cavs?
I love it. I absolutely love it. Do you happen to have an idea what Jarrett Allen's contract situation is?
He is a restricted free agent. He's expected to get somewhere around 3 for 100.
So we just figure the Cavs aren't going to make that move?
No, according to...
That wouldn't be the matching offer. That would be the Cavs, what the Cavs can offer him.
Well, they can match any offer. They hold it as restricted free agent, right?
But we're looking at 3.
That's what people have said. That's probably what he'll end up signing for.
All right. I think that's wonderful.
And Cleveland.com beat reporter Chris Theodore has reported the Cavs plan to start Allen at the 5 with Mobley at the 4.
Okoro at the 3.
I don't know. I don't know what. They were looking at Larry Nance as a possible 3. The problem with Nance is he don't ever play.
He can't shoot.
He was working on extending his jumper.
That's true.
A 3-4-5 of Nance, Mobley, and Allen, just if I'm an opposing offense, just all of that makes me I don't like that. That's too much. That's so much length.
And I mean, I think you can add Okoro into that too.
Yeah, he's just a little small to play the 3. He's like 6'3". He's got a pretty good wingspan, but he's just a little small, and he'll struggle against the bigger, the Kawhis, the Paul George, the LeBrons. Anybody with that body type can kind of muscle him.
Yeah, and then are they projecting Garland and Sexton to start?
Yeah, so that's what I mean. I don't know what they end up doing with Okoro and Nance.
Right.
Maybe, Nance is probably the best piece they have to trade.
Yeah.
And a lot of people thought he would get traded.
But regardless what you do with those 4, they're probably going to get plenty of playing time. I like it. It's a young nucleus. We 2 years in a row now, we've got a good piece that is needed. As we talked about earlier, like the end of the year, if you look at the guys Okoro had to defend, that was a murderer's row. He had superstars and future Hall of Famers every night, and it's like just him by himself. So it'll be nice to see some more length, some more help on the defensive side of the floor. But the problem is still Garland and Sexton.
Yeah, it all
problem.
Comes down to that. Those two don't work together. Now, if you're going to tell me that Bickerstaff is going to say the starting lineup is Garland, Okoro, Nance, Mobley, Allen, and Sexton's going to be the 6th man offense off the bench, I like that as a team that could possibly win 30, 35 games next year.
I would agree. I would absolutely agree.
Just defensively, it's so difficult to play when you have no defense on the perimeter.
Here's the thing.
It's just so tough.
The East right now is not as strong as the West.
No.
So there's a thing there, right? So we would not have to argue about C.J. McCollum and Damian Lillard being a significant increase over Darius Garland and Colin Sexton.
No.
Right?
In total agreement.
But in the West, a lot of times, Dame and C.J. present the exact same problem for their team success as Garland and Sexton do for their team in the East. Like, Dame and C.J. could probably get away in the East, but not in the West. The guards are just too good. But in the East, the guards are good enough to make Garland and Sexton on the floor at the same time look horrific.
Yeah.
Like, it's horrible. You got to get rid of one of them. I like Garland more than Sexton. I think it seems like Sexton is the sexier piece out there. More teams looking at him.
You know what, though? All of the reporting is, from the fact that he hasn't been dealt, would show this, that the Cavs want somebody to make them a good offer for Sexton, and it just hasn't come because nobody wants to pay him.
No, exactly.
It's the same problem that we had the second he was drafted. In a couple of years, you're going to have to make a decision on whether to pay him or not.
Yep.
And you're going to look at his offensive numbers and say, but he's a 25-point-a-game scorer. Like, you can't just let those guys go.
No.
It's like, yeah, but when we talk about his additional skills, the first thing that people mention is how hard he works.
Right.
That's not good when you're talking about paying a guy $30 million a year.
Yep.
His second skill can't be hard worker. He has to be able to do other things.
I agree. I completely agree. I think you're completely right. And then I guess, should we talk about Kevin Love?
All the reports say he's going to get bought out. I don't know how this is going to work when he's got $2 and a little more than $60 million on his contract. Like, what are they going to buy him out at?
Like, what is he going to do? Like, I don't. I mean, let's face it. He has no loyalty to the Cleveland Cavs organization.
You know why the Cavs don't want to buy him out? It's the same reason they want to buy out Drummond last year.
Why is that?
Because he's probably going to go sign a minimum contract and try and win a title with the Lakers.
You're absolutely right.
He's going to go try and play with LeBron again.
I bet you those knees and that back would look real good real quick.
In that situation, he would only be playing 20, 25 minutes a night, and he'd never be counted on to do anything. So I think that kind of role would be perfect for him at this point in his career.
But yeah, I agree. We just got to kind of wait and see what the front office does, because it's so much money. I don't know if they can really afford to buy that out. I don't know. I hope they're able to do something, or just make him understand, like, sorry, dude, you coming off the bench. I got to get these young guys on the court.
You would think that there's enough bad contracts in the NBA that they could do a swap for another bad contract, but they can't, because this is like the worst one.
Right. This is it.
Unless, transition here, unless you would like to say Russell Westbrook's contract is the worst contract in the NBA.
I would like to say that Russell Westbrook's contract is not as bad as Kevin Love's.
I gotta look up Russell Westbrook's contract.
It's pretty bad, but I'll still take his what he does.
Nowhere near as bad, because he's an unrestricted free agent after this year. So you're paying 2 years.
It's 2 years, right?
So he has 2 years, $91 million. Yeah, that's worse. I'd rather. Oh man!
But you can get some amount of production.
Two at 91. Yeah, you're getting something out of Westbrook.
Yeah, I mean, Love showed no interest in doing anything good for the Cavs.
I agree. $91 million.
I agree.
Whew. Ooh. How the fuck is the Lakers going to make this work?
They're not.
Yeah, I tend to think the same.
I
don't see. It just seems like there's too much in the paint and not enough shooting.
Yeah, I agree. If you listen to our NBA broadcast at all, you'll find out I am very, very pro LeBron. Evan's kind of pro LeBron. I'm more vocal about being pro LeBron. If he was the one making the front office moves like everybody joked in Cleveland, LeBron, thank you again for winning the title for the Cleveland Cavs. Because, the front office proved they couldn't put anything around you. This doesn't feel to me like the kind of things that LeBron's ever been okay with on the teams he's played on. It just doesn't feel like it. So maybe the front office is being like, go make your movies. We're going to put another superstar in the building. I don't understand how it works. We were talking off air. Where's LeBron play? Does LeBron play at the 1? Russ is the 2? But then do you make Russ understand that this offense cannot work at all if you're bricking threes? Either make them or don't take them. How healthy is Anthony Davis going to be? Because then if you get Anthony Davis off the court, there may be a 15-game stretch where Russ averages like 60 points a game. It's possible. The opportunities would be there, and LeBron's going to get him moving towards the basket with the ball. So I think it can work in stretches, but I feel like against a good team and a good defense, unless Horton Tucker ends up turning into an absolute superstar, unless he turns into Klay Thompson overnight.
I don't see it.
And they find some really good shooters. I don't know how this offense generates in the playoffs with better defenses. I don't know how you do it. I'm really concerned. Does Gasol have a spot? It's weird to me.
Well, they're going to have a spot for him because they only got like 7 guys on the roster right now, and he's one of them.
Yeah, Caruso should have a chance to be an all-star this year, so he should get lots of minutes.
He's going to get a lot of open looks.
Yeah, until I see this play, my first reaction is this Lakers group is not going to win another title.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty. But again, it still comes down to who in the West do you like to beat them if they're fully healthy.
I think a healthy Nuggets team is really, really dangerous.
No pun intended, but the Nuggets are fool's gold.
What?
They're always fool's gold.
Come on.
like AD just destroys the Joker. True. I mean, he just destroys him. And the other problem that Denver has is like the athletic bigs really give Joker a lot of problems.
True.
And he's going to be facing a lot of them because he's going to have to deal with DeAndre Ayton for a while. And who else is out there?
True, but against the Lakers, he'll be good.
West. No, I guess there aren't really anybody else out in the West like that.
Against the Lakers, he'll be okay because he'll have help from whoever's guarding Russ standing out by the 3-point line. So it'll be fine.
Yeah, they are going to be playing a lot of 4-on-5.
No, you figure the Clippers are pretty much done without Kawhi, and he's going to be out most of the year. So you're looking, I don't know. I mean, Phoenix, I don't know what Phoenix is. I was down on them. We really weren't sure what this team is.
Yeah, they get by an injured Lakers team, and then they played. Did they play the Nuggets?
Yes.
They beat the injured Clippers. They beat the Clippers without Kawhi, and then they would have beaten the Nuggets.
They had the Nuggets. No, they had the. Yeah, they had the Nuggets
because they didn't have the Jazz. The Clippers had the Jazz.
Yeah, and then for me, the team I'm watching in the West because they freed up some salary cap. I'm looking at Dallas. I believe the Mavericks are a piece away from making a 2 or 3 year run in the West.
Yeah, that's what happens with Porzingis there is really going to determine their future. They don't want him, for Porzingis to say that he should be getting more touches and that he's better, even to say he's better than Luka is just nonsense.
Yeah, they have a lot of good role players, and I think free agents would probably, well, one, you get the tax situation in Texas going to play for Dallas. Mark Cuban seems to be a loved owner. And you can't watch Luka play and not see that magic. And if you had an opportunity to put yourself in that situation and they would accept it, I imagine you would.
He's that next LeBron, James Harden, walking triple-double.
Yeah.
He needs to add on defense. He needs to be more attentive. He needs to be just better all around defensively. But he's still young. That comes for guys. But offensively, he's just a one-man show, and he's showing it for Slovenia in the Olympics. I mean, fucking A, man, that'd be awesome if they won a medal. That would be a lot like, was it 92 when the Grateful Dead adopted the Lithuanian team that was competing for the first time, not in the Soviet Union? That was just a great moment. It would be right there. Free agency opens tomorrow, and we have some reports. These are just sort of what's out there. Chris Paul is expected to enter free agency, but there is optimism, quote unquote, that Phoenix can re-sign him. I don't see how he's going to wind up signing anywhere else than Phoenix. That's where he's going to be able to get the most money.
Yeah, I think it's weird because if he was planning, you would think if he was planning on entering free agency, he might have had his guys make a call to the Lakers guys.
They can't offer him anything.
That's true. They didn't have the money.
They don't have any money.
Well, but you could have figured something out.
I mean,
you could have figured something out. Bump
him up from those State Farm commercials. Get him in some movies.
Yeah, like at this point, shouldn't Chris Paul? I mean, I don't know. I'm so down on him after the way that playoff series.
Are they going to offer him like $120?
I don't think you can pay him that much money.
I mean, I know, but this is the NBA and shit like this happens all the time.
Yeah, I mean, that would probably be right.
Jimmy, do you remember when the LA Lakers signed Timothy Mozgov? What, 4 for $60 or whatever it was? And we just all looked at each other and went, that's not a good signing, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure if I don't know what situation Chris Paul could end up in that gives them a chance at a title with a competitive team like Phoenix. Now, I still stand by our earlier statements that if every team in the West was healthy, the Phoenix Suns wouldn't have went on the run they went on.
I don't think Milwaukee would have made it either if people were healthy out east.
I agree with that as well.
And they barely got by the Nets with a broken James Harden on the court.
Yep.
So that's definitely...
Yeah.
So you had mentioned Kawhi. He's expected to negotiate a new deal with the Clippers after declining his player option. This isn't that unexpected. The only thing I think people were thinking was that he might keep the option for this year so that he could sign the 5 for $250 ridiculous mega extension that he could the year after. But it looks like he's going to opt for the money, which is probably a good move for him considering he can't play an entire season without getting hurt.
Absolutely.
Looking like Miami's going to try and use Goran Dragic in a sign and trade for Kyle Lowry. Is Toronto trading Kyle Lowry? I mean, I know there's media reports out there that say that everybody's trying to trade for Kyle Lowry, but I've never really heard Toronto say they're trading Kyle Lowry.
It doesn't feel like they're going to trade Kyle Lowry. If they were going to trade Kyle Lowry, that's a great spot for him. And I think that's a good return. I think that's a good return for Lowry. But I think Jimmy Butler could get the absolute most out of Kyle Lowry.
And everybody's doing their math on the max that he could sign this year versus next year with Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
Bobby Portis from the champion Milwaukee Bucks is going to enter free agency.
Yeah,
That's a smart move for him. He was great in the playoffs.
Yep.
His intensity is he just looks like crazy eyes.
Yep. Yep.
And he reminds me a little bit of how Tristan Thompson played. He does all the dirty work. He does the hustle stuff.
Yep.
And just every once in a while, he puts a couple offensive games together that just make it a hell of a lot easier. And that actually brings us to Tristan Thompson, who you wanted to mention got traded from the Boston Celtics to is there Cleveland's an NBA desert, like Detroit's an NBA desert, Sacramento's an NBA desert, and he's going to be playing out in Sacramento. He'll love California. I mean, Northern California is beautiful.
Yeah, he finally gets some warm weather, some nice scenery. It's just wow. Like,
do you think he gets bought out?
No, I think you try to get him in there with the young guys you've got and see if you can get some more of those energy type. Maybe a couple energy type seasons out of Tristan.
I mean, he's only on the books for $9.7 million. If they get close to the end of the season, you think they just drop him and see if
maybe I don't know.
Maybe do him a solid and say, all right, try and chase a title with somebody who will pick you up.
Yeah, it's possible.
Because you're gonna hear that a lot about a lot of guys.
Yep.
Especially veterans connected to LeBron, like Kevin Love. If he gets bought out, there's going to be rumors he's going to the Lakers. Tristan Thompson somehow gets bought out, there's going to be rumors he's going to the Lakers. Chris Paul is going to sign a contract with the Phoenix Suns, and there's going to be rumors that he's going to the Lakers. That just seems to be how all of this is going to go. Well, it looks like Iguodala is going to go back to Golden State. He declined his team option. I don't know if that really matters.
I don't think it matters at this point, but I think it's good for him. I always had a feeling that he was going to kind of probably inch into the coaching side towards the end of his career, and I think that's a right spot to do it in Golden State.
Looks like New York and the Lakers are looking at possibly bringing in Melo.
Yeah. The Lakers need him desperately.
Just as a shooter.
They need him. They need him very bad. I still hope something works out with Portland. I don't think it will, but I hope something works out with Portland where they can keep him because Dame needs him. But if he's not going to be in Portland, I'd like to see him go to the Lakers and chase a ring with LeBron.
Lonzo Ball and Josh Hart for the Pelicans have been offered qualifying offers. They're both restricted free agents. A lot of talk that Lonzo Ball is going to sign 4 years, $60 million in Chicago. That usually when there's contract numbers attached to those things, that means it's going to happen.
Yep.
All right, we're starting to get down to the point where some of these
is there a number
don't even matter.
Do you think? I mean, you believe that number is above what they should match to keep him?
For at 60. Man,
he's really good.
He is good. Who else do they have to handle the ball? And God, New Orleans is such a mess.
Yeah,
they have Zion and Bobby Ingram's a really good player, but him and Zion their games don't seem to mesh very well.
Nope.
And I don't know what they do there. That's Griffin from the Cavs. That was the GM when we won the title. Made that great trade when LeBron said they needed more help. He made the great trade for Shump and J.R. Smith.
Yep.
That won us the title.
Yep.
I don't know what he does there. The Ringer just had a whole big piece on how they're making all the same mistakes they did when they had Anthony Davis.
Yep.
It really hurts looking at, man, Drew Holiday was so fucking good in the finals. That's got to hurt if you're a Pelicans fan.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know. What do they do?
I try to keep him. I think you just don't have enough pieces. You've got to try to keep him in the fold. I don't know. I mean, It's not an outrageous number, but I could see where that's too much. But I think they need to keep him in New Orleans.
Like, what are some of the other big names we had? Ben Simmons, do you think he ends up getting traded?
I hope so. I hope Philly is able to get some youth back in return. I hope they're able to get some guys that will shoot the basketball, and Embiid gets a fair shot at getting to the NBA Finals.
Yeah, it seems to have just fallen apart there at the end for Simmons, but I don't think they trade him. I think they end up holding on to him because I don't think he's as an asset, he's at his lowest point. This is not the time to trade him.
No, I agree, but I don't know. I mean,
because you have to get a star back for him,
yeah,
or at least somebody that's close to being a star.
Yeah,
he's a defensive player of the year candidate every year.
Yep,
he's a great passer. I just don't know at this point. He's just unwilling to shoot the basketball.
Like, him not dunking that basketball is one of the most absurd things I've ever seen in an NBA game.
Yeah, it cost him a chance for the finals.
Plain and simple. Like, I can't, and this wasn't like asking you to shoot a Dame time 3-pointer. Dude, you were at the edge of the key with no real resistance at the moment. When he came out of that spin, there was nobody between him and the basket. And he hesitated just long enough to be like, I can't do it.
Dame, does he stay a Trailblazer?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Simmons for Dame trade makes a lot of sense on paper, but I don't see either team actually doing that because I think Portland needs more than just Simmons. Even if you send Simmons and Tobias Harris,
is that enough offense to make up for losing Dame?
Yeah, I don't know.
But I think that offer's out there. I think it would work for both sides, but I don't think it happens. I saw a couple early reports of trying to work something out with Boston. That would surprise me that Brad Stevens would give up enough to get a bona fide superstar.
Yeah,
because they need a bona fide superstar. But if you put Damian Lillard and you could keep Tatum and you put Tatum in the lineup together,
that just
seems
like
team.
A deal where Boston is going to say, "We'll give you Jaylen Brown," and the Trailblazers say, "We want Jason Tatum," and the Celtics say, "We're not going to offer Jason Tatum," and the Portland Trailblazers say, "Well, then thank you and good day," and everybody hangs up the phone.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't. That's obviously a very. It's not hard to see that happening, but I could also see Boston offering enough pieces with Jaylen Brown to fix both sides. But I don't think that works because I don't know what Dame has in his contract. I don't know if he has any veto power, but the dude's made it clear that if he's not winning a title, we might as well stay in Portland and make all the money in the world. He's kind of made that clear. And I don't know if you go to Boston if that's really a contender. Now, the Philly thing, if I'm Damian Lillard, I'm probably chomping at the bit for that trade to happen.
Yeah, with his shooting range combined with what Embiid can do and the rest of what's on that roster, the real question is what besides Simmons is going to Portland to make that happen?
Yep.
Are they losing another starter? They don't have a ton of depth to begin with.
Yep.
Do you give up too much to get Dame? But they're going to have to go toe-to-toe with Brooklyn, and it's going to be tough to score with Brooklyn when you have Ben Simmons not even shooting.
Yep, absolutely. So that's the only spot where I could see it happening. But like I said, I think he's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with an athlete at the end of a season having just watched. Those were great NBA Finals games.
And they were a lot of fun.
I have no problem with an NBA player who's never played in those games in that environment at the end of the season, just kind of with a mic in their face being like, I'd love to play for a championship.
Yeah.
Did you see those games? I would love to be a part of that. But I honestly don't. If it's a team that he's not clear cut with me, this team goes to the NBA Finals, I might as well just stay in Portland and make all the money.
Yeah, and he keeps his street cred staying with the organization.
Yep.
And it's just also, there's only so many teams that have pieces that you can trade.
Yep. I mean, I don't want to.
Do you think CJ gets dealt?
I don't know what Portland wants. I don't know if they still feel like we've got Dame, we've got Nurk, because I still think Nurkic is a top 10 center at least.
And they've still never really gone through the playoffs healthy.
No, they haven't. So if they believe they have a championship window, which I might look at Russ to the Lakers and think I have a championship window, like I could understand that, then I don't understand why you do not try. Like I would try to trade CJ for any defensive wing who can score a little bit. They need those 3-and-D guys. It's what they don't have. It's why they can never get out of the Western Conference, because that's what you need to succeed, and they don't have it. They just don't have the guys.
That's what everybody's looking for.
They don't have the guys that can score on offense and lock down on defense.
Well, I was going to say, what if they made a deal for somebody like Buddy Hield, but you said defense, and that's not what Buddy Hield does.
That's not. But it's just they've just never been able to keep their pieces healthy, and that's just been a problem they've had. So hopefully they can get one healthy year, and Dame can get one realistic run.
Do you think anybody can challenge Brooklyn in the East next year if they're healthy?
No, unless Philly has Damian Lillard.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I just don't think
and I think for Brooklyn, it's actually, I don't think Kyrie Irving's an important part of that team. Actually, I think he's a negative influence when he's there. I think they're better when it's KD, Harden, and just 3 other guys.
Yeah, I agree. I think there will be times where where he's a plus factor, but there's a lot of times where I agree with you. The distraction isn't worth it,
or he's just hurt.
Kudos to the Milwaukee Bucks and Giannis on what they did in getting the ring. I think when next season opens up and all the lines open up, people are going to be surprised that Milwaukee isn't like the clear-cut favorite to win the NBA championship next year. Because I don't think Milwaukee makes the finals if teams stay healthy. I just don't think that. I don't think that team can beat the Nets if the Nets are healthy.
If the Sixers make a trade, Milwaukee will be third best in the East, at least in terms of the odds. That's where people will put them.
And it might be fourth best if Miami gets Kyle Lowry.
Why?
Why what?
Why did we not watch Kyle Lowry play like shit in playoff after playoffs? Like, okay, he played good in one playoffs.
Well,
why does that change everything?
Why? Because Jimmy Butler, damn it. That's why.
Jimmy Butler is a beast. But if they're making a trade for Kyle Lowry, then they're probably giving up Duncan Robinson and Dragic.
No. They're getting him for nothing. It's okay. It'll be all right. Leave my Miami Heat alone. No, but I just don't. I mean, if Philly can move Ben Simmons and get some guys that can just score some points and take a little pressure off Embiid, I think they are either the number 1 team or the number 2 team in the East. And the Nets, like, you can't, like, we can not like it, but you have to respect what this version of Kevin Durant and this version of James Harden, if healthy, can do on a basketball court. But they weren't able to be healthy last year. Kevin Durant hasn't been healthy in a few years.
Just something to monitor with Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis, and the really tall athletic guys. How do their bodies hold up in terms of the Achilles? Because that was what got Durant in trouble, and that's what got Anthony Davis in trouble. Was they had problems with their Achilles, and then it turned into a problem with the groin. Then it turns into a problem with the hamstring. It's just these guys are so big and they play so fast.
Yep.
It's not something we've seen before. Like, Jesus Christ, Kevin Durant's 7 feet tall and he plays like a guard.
Yep.
Like, what?
Exactly. I hope these guys, those are the two. I mean, we said it, like, what we want to see is this healthy Nets team versus a healthy Lakers team in the NBA Finals.
I don't think we're ever going to get it.
I don't think so either, but it's what I want. I think
to have Brooklyn, that New York market, and the LA market in the finals.
And especially, I mean,
it's what they want.
Dude. Come on, dude.
It's what the league would want.
Russ versus KD in the finals.
Oh, yeah. You'd have the whole Oklahoma City
injected into my veins. Oh, my gosh. Like, it would be amazing. But like I said, it's the health factor. And we just, from the bubble season, we talked about a lot of other podcasts talked about it. There weren't very many players or very many teams that went into the bubble, let alone deep into the bubble, that had healthy seasons last year.
Yeah, Miami was a mess. They couldn't stay healthy. The Lakers had, they started out really well, but then everything started falling apart.
Denver?
Boston was a mess. They were in the Final Four.
I mean, Denver it wasn't just Jamal Murray. I mean, their role players who played a lot of minutes in the bubble were injured a lot this year. So you hope those teams, maybe they had a little bit earlier exit. They had a little bit of extra time to rest up. Now everybody's healthy. Now the league can reset again.
Yeah, they'll be back to their normal schedule, at least not quite. The off season's a little bit shorter, but they'll be back to a regular season.
Yep.
It just still amazes me how the league's just sort of treated COVID like a speed bump. They've just adapted and they just plowed through it.
Yep.
And the only reason baseball didn't come out of it better is because the players don't trust the owners, nor should they.
Right.
And that seems to be about the long and short of it. The owners seem to want to. The owners in baseball, it's gone beyond any common sense. They just don't want to share. They don't want to give up They don't want to give up anything to the players.
No.
So I think that's how basketball's really taken over. In these next couple of years, basketball could become a bona fide number 2 sport with the players that are in the league right now.
Yep.
You got a lot of young guys that are so good. It's going to be, let's just be honest, he's European, but having a white guy as the face of the league with Luka is going to be huge.
Yep.
It's going to bring a lot of people into basketball that wouldn't normally watch it.
Yep.
And they'll watch it for him.
Yep.
Because
you're absolutely right.
Bunch of bigots in this country. And they're going to want to watch the white basketball player.
Yep. It will be no different than the phenomena that was Larry Bird.
Yeah, and both guys, that's who he gets compared to a lot. Yep. Although I think he's a lot more LeBron in terms of the passing.
Yeah.
Wow. And then Atlanta with Trae Young, that looked like a disaster, and now they just made an Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
A lot of young stars. Should be a lot of fun. Hopefully the Cavs win more than 25 games next year.
It would be a shame if what the roster looks like right now, they're not able to make the 2 moves they need to make to win 35 games.
Yeah, there's a deal out there for Larry Nance that they should make at some point during the season. And man, I don't know who you look at, but maybe the Lakers sign somebody to mid-level exception and you can figure out something with the contract to trade Colin Sexton to the Lakers because he solves some of their problems, not all of them. He brings his own problems.
Yeah.
He's not quite as good a shooter as you would hope for, but maybe you poach a Horton Tucker and you get 2 future first-round picks that right now look like, oh man, like you're drafting in the 20s, and maybe LeBron just ups and leaves, or an AD misses a season and they're in the lottery. Maybe you get lucky.
Yep.
I think those are the types of things the Cavs should really look at.
Yep, I agree.
All right, well, I think that's all we got for now. That'll pretty much wrap up the NBA season. We'll be all football from here. We'll be posting our divisional previews for each of the 8 NFL divisions. We'll be starting with the AFC North, so look for that to come out in the next week or 2. Jimmy, thank you for joining me.
No place I'd rather be, brother.
All right, and for Jimmy Champ, I am Evan Belfiore. Thank you for listening to No Broken Legs.
Every action has a repercussion. Lyrical bullets don't